I remember the very first time I ordered a risotto in Italy. Ava and I were in a restaurant in Rome and I asked for some risotto, I can't remember what it was. And the waiter said something that sort of surprised me and I didn't really understand. He essentially said, yes, I'm happy to bring you a risotto, but just so you know, it will come out later. You're gonna have to wait for it. Ava then explained to me that a risotto takes some time to make. Here's the basic problem for making risotto in a restaurant. Risotto is similar to pasta in some senses, in that it's a kind of starchy carb that is cooked in some kind of sauce. The difference though is that with pasta, you can make the sauce completely in advance, and so the restaurant can have a big batch of that sauce, and then when they get an order for the pasta, all they have to do is boil the pasta, mix the two together, and your dish is served. With risotto, it's different, because always the sauce and the rice are cooked together from start to finish. There is no part of that process that you can prep in advance. Not to mention the fact that good rice takes longer to cook than good pasta. Long story short, if you go to any restaurant, whether it's in Italy or out, because they do this also in Italy, and if it does not take a long time to cook, in which case they'll probably let you know in advance, you can be quite sure that it is not a real risotto. They have their own method that speeds things up pretty substantially. I have been curious for so long now about investigating this and really seeing what the difference is between a restaurant risotto and a homemade risotto. It can be difficult to judge this method just based on like one risotto you had in a restaurant. That's why today I've asked Ava to help me out and conduct a controlled experiment. My idea here is to cook 2 risotti, both exactly the same risotto, same ingredients. The only difference being one uses the traditional homemade method and one uses the fast restaurant prep method. I want to see if you can actually tell the difference, if one is better than the other, and if maybe this method is useful for home cooks. Okay, looks like you have your food laboratory ready.
Yes, I have all my ingredients here ready to make a very good risotto. Some butter, onion, I'm using a white onion because it's much better for cooking. A very good rice. I'm going to use, in this case, arborio rice, an Italian arborio rice. I have some good white wine because the rule with wine when you need to cook is you cook with the wine that you drink. If you are not capable or you're not willing to drink that wine, don't cook with that. And then last but not least, a piece of real amazing Parmigiano Reggiano.
Oh, and we have vegetable broth here.
Yes, obviously. I have some vegetable broth that is heating up.
This is about as simple as a risotto can get.
This is what you need to make a very good, simple risotto. We start with putting some butter in a pot. The best way to cook a risotto actually is a pot. If you don't have a pot, you can also cook a risotto in a very deep pan. While the butter is melting, what we need to do is taking another pot or another pan, bring this to a very high temperature because we are going to toast the rice. And this is very important to have a very good risotto. A lot of recipes, they say toast the rice direct into the pot with the butter and all that. But no, it's much better if you do this in a clean pot and the rice is completely dry. Here the butter is completely melted, which means that we can add the onion. And this is a moment in which you need to be very careful because you don't want to burn the onion. Saute it, but without burning it. You understand that your rice is toasted in the right way when 1, you touch it, actually it's very hot, and 2, it's a little bit translucent. And now, after the rice is toasted and the onion sauté for about 2 minutes in the melted butter, is the moment in which we can transfer the rice into the butter. The white wine. To make a very good risotto, it's very important that you always listen to your risotto because you need to see the bubble even when you put the wine. You need to listen the sound that is like. What we need to do now is let the alcohol of the wine completely evaporate. When your risotto starts to have this kind of consistency, which means that the liquid is almost gone and is very, very creamy, you understand that is the moment to add the broth. It's the moment to add the broth.
Okay, are you ready for some frequently asked risotto questions?
I'm all yours.
When do you salt it?
You salt the broth, so you don't salt the rice.
Do you need to stir it all the time?
Absolutely not. Leave in peace your risotto. You need to stir the risotto at the beginning, a little bit when it's cooking, and then at the end. But you don't need to stay there like this, like if it's a polenta. It's not a polenta, it's a risotto.
How do you know when you need to add more broth?
You understand that you need more liquid when the rice looks a little bit dry. So right now, because I poured the liquid a few moments ago, is still, as you can see, pretty there, the liquid. When after, I don't know, 2 minutes, you can stir and see that the rice starts to be too dry, you can add some more. As you can see, when I stir now, it's obvious that the rice absorbed most of the liquid, which means that is the moment in which you take your ladle and add some extra broth.
And you just keep doing that until the rice is al dente to your taste.
Absolutely, yes. This is the only thing that you need to do with the risotto.
So in a very, very rare occurrence, Eva is actually measuring the cheese so that we can be sure that each risotto has exactly the same amount.
So I'm going to use 30 grams of cheese.
Eva, you better speed things up. The guests are getting hungry. They're out there. They had their appetizer like 30 minutes ago.
I don't care. Good risotto.
They're leaving bad
time.
Yelp reviews.
It's okay. They can go also toma inita toma. So this risotto is done. It's cooked the way in which I like. So it's al dente to my taste. What we need to do now is turn off the heat. Put inside all the cheese, a little bit of extra butter, and then you stir. This is called mantecatura, which makes the risotto creamy as all of us like. And after you understand that all the butter is melted, all the cheese is melted, take a lid and cover your risotto and wait for 3 minutes. And this is a very important step because you can tell when the risotto he didn't rest. So 3 minutes and then the risotto is ready to be served.
One of the frustrating challenges with making videos about risotto is that risotto is one of the hardest things to convey on camera how silky and creamy and smooth they look.
I know, it's like
one of the worst things to photograph. And also it ruins very quickly. Like you need to make it and then eat it.
Because it's keeping absorbing the liquid.
So we better try it fast.
Absolutely.
Buon appetito. I love risotto so much. I love
It's good, it's
risotto
creamy,
so much.
full of flavor.
What it has and what makes it so amazing is that the rice has released so much starch that the sauce becomes so thick and creamy that it kind of blends each piece of rice together, and yet the rice is still al dente, so you can still, it's not just a mush in your mouth. It's a very unique, amazing texture, and if you haven't had a real risotto,
You don't know what you are missing.
I don't know what to say other than like you have to try one. Everything is incorporated. The rice and the sauce, it feels like one thing and yet distinct things. I know how cryptic this sounds.
You can taste them all, but they all combine together. They make something that is more than just this plus this plus this plus this.
But now I want to try the restaurant method, the quick restaurant method, but using all those same ingredients. Same amounts, same rice, same sauce, same broth, everything, and see if there's a noticeable difference. Well, this part of the risotto is the same. Still need rice.
See, what they do in the restaurant is pre-cooking the rice. Now you have two ways of pre-cooking the rice. You can bake it, or you can do what I'm going to do today, which means boil the rice for half the amount of time that there is written on the box. As you can see on this box, there is written 15-18 minutes, that is the cooking time of the rice. And I'm going to boil this for about 7 minutes. So take the lower number, divide it on half, that is the amount of time that you need to pre-cook your rice.
7 is not half of 15.
Yes, you need to be very precise, 7 and a half. After 7 minutes are passed, what I'm going to do is drain completely the rice, because we need a very dry rice. After you drain the risotto, the rice, you need to spread it. I'm using a normal plate like this. You don't need to pour any olive oil, any butter, nothing. The rice needs to be completely natural. Spread it evenly, because right now the rice needs to cool down. Now, in the restaurant, they have a special machine that is called abbattitore. I don't know how do you call this in English. But the abbattitore is a sort of very strong fridge where you put something hot, and I don't know, like in a minute, 2 minutes, it brings down the temperature about 3, 4, 5 degrees Celsius. We don't have the abbattitore, which means that we are going to put this in the freezer for about 10-15 minutes until the rice is completely cold but not frozen. After the rice is cool, what you can do is keep it in the fridge until the moment in which actually you make the risotto. Also, because this is what the restaurants do, they cook a big batch of rice all at once, and then they keep in the fridge and take it when they need a risotto.
So same butter, same onion.
Same everything. The only thing that here we are missing actually is toasted the rice, because our rice right now is pre-cooked. Because the rice in this case is completely cold, we need to heat it a little bit. So we are not going to lose the temperature when we are adding the broth. A splash of white wine.
It actually sounds different than a normal risotto, because normally at this stage, when the rice is cooked that much, the simmering will be a much more sort of thick plop, plop, plop kind of simmer, and this is such a brisk, sharp, watery simmer.
There is a reason why. He looks cooked. Now, as before, turn off the heat, cheese, butter,
I can already see a difference. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting it to be different when I ate it, but I can already see a difference. Like the sauce looks more
Separated?
liquid and separated, but we should try it.
Absolutely. We are here for the science today.
You mix it up, it looks okay. Buon appetito.
Petita. There is a difference.
There isn't a difference in terms of flavor, obviously.
No, because you have
Same
the same
ingredients.
flavor.
It tastes delicious. It's not a bad rice dish.
No, absolutely. But the difference between the real risotto and a risotto made like that is more about all the flavor, all the ingredients combined together. This is not bad. It's not that if you go to a restaurant and ask for a risotto and they do like that, you have a bad dish. No, but you are missing the real
You're missing a
quality
big
of
part
risotto.
of it. Yeah.
That makes risotto so good.
This it feels like rice plus a yummy sauce. Rice floating in a yummy sauce. It's not one thing. If there's a particular restaurant that maybe because of the sauce that they make or the ingredients that they use, they can make a really yummy risotto using this method. But I would not go to a restaurant and just order a risotto just to have a risotto unless you know that they take the time to make a real one, because this doesn't even compare at all to a homemade risotto.
Unless they tell you you want a risotto, you should wait at least 30 minutes to have a risotto. Then, there in that moment, you know that you are in the right place. But if you go to a restaurant, you order a risotto, all your friends and family, they order pasta, and they bring everything at the same moment, like in 10, 15 minutes, you are sure 100% that risotto was pre-cooked and then made. It doesn't mean that it's bad, but it's not the real one.
And furthermore, I was sort of maybe hoping that the upside of this method was that maybe it's not as good, but maybe it's something that's convenient or helps you speed things up, but it really doesn't, because if you're cooking at home, you still have to take the time to cook the rice. The only scenario I can see this being beneficial is if you literally run a restaurant.
It's in a restaurant. At home, there is no way in which you need to choose this over the other one.
Yeah.
In a restaurant, the situation is a little bit different.
It's only if you need to serve a lot of different people at different times. If you've never made a risotto at home the proper way, and you've only maybe had them at restaurants or something, all the more reason to try making a real risotto, because then you will see what the heck we're talking about. Speaking of Italian dishes that we do not recommend ordering at restaurants, even in Italy, this pasta grammarian made an excellent looking tiramisu.
Because they follow our suggestion, which means make the tiramisu at home. Don't order in a restaurant. And they did a very good job.
If you want to become a pasta grammarian, just hit that subscribe button. Follow us on social media at Pasta Grammar. And if you make a delicious, yummy risotto, or anything really, tag us in a picture there. We'd love to see it. All right, guys, we'll see you next time.
Ciao!
Ciao. My soul died a little bit watching you drain the rice and just seeing all that beautiful starchy water just disappear literally down the drain.